Greetings, everybody. This is Jenny Mahan with Pine Creek Wellness, and I'm here for day 3 of Nourish. It's a free 5-day program online about reclaiming nourishment from kind of the grip of food and health extremism, and starting with delight and starting to feel better and create a vision of wellness for ourselves that's unique to us and our situation and what's meaningful to us. So welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And I'm going to take just a minute here to try to share this link into the group so that hopefully all you folks who are signed up and in the group can find it. There we go. There it is. Okay, so give me just a second to do that, and we'll kind of see if we can get anybody else. Give everybody a minute to kind of find us and get going here. In the meantime, while we're doing that, if you're not signed up for Nourish yet or not familiar with what this is about, I encourage you to follow the link in the description, and you can learn a little more about it there and sign up if you're interested. Like I say, it's free, and it's just become a really beautiful group of folks supporting each other to start to come at health and wellness in a different way, in a more wholesome, nourishing way and delightful way. So, okay, I think that's that. And let me just, and also I want to say, if anybody has questions at any point, please feel free to leave them in the comments here, and I will get to them, assuming that I see them. I don't always see them at the moment, but there's a little lag time, but hopefully I'll see that, and even if I don't see them till after, or if you are watching the replay and have questions or comments, go ahead and leave them in the comments as well, and I'll circle back around, because the more the merrier, the bigger conversation we can make this, the more we all get out of it, I think. So, okay, without further ado, this is day 3 of Nourish, and today is all about adding in and small steps. So over the last, let me just adjust my little window here for my notes. If you see me looking off to the side, I'm looking at some notes, make sure I don't forget anything. So over the last couple days, we've dug into creating a vision for our well-being that's meaningful to us, and we've explored starting with delight to start to move us toward that vision. And so today is all about leveraging the power of small steps and adding in that delightful nourishment. Okay, so the little things really do matter. You know, it's so easy to kind of fall into this downward health spiral where kind of one thing leads to the next, and together they pile up, and before we know it, we feel crummy, we're less motivated, we've got new or exacerbated health problems, all kinds of things. And then, it's easy to feel discouraged because you've gotten to this point and it feels overwhelming to think about how in the world you're going to kind of crawl out of this hole that you've gotten into. And then, pile on a little guilt and shame, some loneliness, impossible societal expectations. And, this can feel like a pretty rough, stuck place to be in. But what I want to talk about today is the fact that it goes the other way too. Small positive steps start to build momentum, or kind of an upward spiral, if you will, a positive synergy. They start to build on each other until we're spiraling upward, into more energy, feeling better, feeling good in our bodies, regaining abilities we might have lost, easing pain issues, stabilizing health markers like maybe blood pressure or glucose levels or things like that. And then as this positive momentum builds, it gets easier to shed some of that emotional baggage, the guilt, the shame, the embarrassment, the overwhelm from kind of that stuck place we got ourselves into, or that not always that we got ourselves into, but that we ended up in. And all of that then starts to make it easier to take the next small step, and then the next one. I see some more folks have joined me. Hey, Anne. Hey, Janet. Thanks for being here. It says 4 people, but I only see 2 of you. So I'm sorry, whoever else is here, I'm thrilled you're here. I'm sure it'll show me in a minute. So anyway, we're building this positive momentum, feeling more motivated, feeling more energized, and that makes it easier to take the next small steps, right? And we feel more excited, more motivated, and more able to kind of keep going with it. And it goes around and around and keeps spiraling upward like that. But I find a lot of folks kind of feel stuck, you know, while we're still kind of in that stuck place of where to start and how to get going, kind of how to find a way in, if you will. And I think this comes back around to what I've talked about a lot during this program around, you know, we need something that is more long-term and sustainable, regenerative nourishment that's part of an ongoing lifestyle, you know, ongoing part of our daily lives, instead of, you know, kind of a short-term hard push like a diet or a New Year's resolution often goes that way, right? Where we have these great intentions and we take massive action maybe or plan to, but then it doesn't, it's really hard to keep going with that energy. So, you know, we're talking about something that starts small and builds that momentum steadily over time and is something we can keep doing and we're more likely to keep doing because hopefully it's enjoyable and because it's not this big overwhelming push. So when we're thinking about kind of where to get started, where to dig in, I think it's really important, first off, to start from a mindset of adding in nourishing things, like I've talked about before, rather than cutting out bad stuff, you know, like bad food or bad behaviors, whatever. Because, well, like Isabel Foxen-Duke has this beautiful quote. She says, adding healthful things into our life is significantly easier for our human brains than taking unhealthful things out, because we've evolved over millions of years to seek food rather than resist it. And I think that's true with other well-being related things, not just food. It's that focus on the positive of adding in those nourishing things is more motivating. It's more enjoyable. It's more interesting. There's less guilt and shame and all that kind of stuff attached to it. So starting with the idea of adding in nourishment rather than cutting out something bad. And a lot of times, even if there are things that you feel like you should or you want to maybe limit or cut out, a lot of times those things kind of get crowded out as we add in these other good things. Sometimes we just lose our interest in them, or, you know, there's all kinds of ways and reasons that happens, but that often does happen. So when we're looking at where to start, adding in, and then start it with adding in one small thing at a time. And that kind of meets one of these criteria. The first one is it interests or excites you or it sounds fun. And, you know, bonus points if it lights you up and makes your heart sing. This is the delight piece that we talked about yesterday, starting with delight and deliciousness and pleasure. And I'm not going to dive into that more because I want to try to not have these videos be too long. So do look at day 2 video and post if you want to, you know, revisit the whole thing about delight and why that's so powerful and important to start there. The second criteria is that it's a small step that moves you, even in a tiny way for right now, toward a feeling or experience that's deeply important to you, that really matters to you and is meaningful to you. And the third criteria is it's very easy in terms of time and effort. You know, that could be maybe just walking 5 or 10 minutes a day to start, or even less if that's more doable for you. It could be setting an alarm to go to bed 15, 20 minutes earlier one night a week. It could be finding one simple recipe that you want to try, or getting one new ingredient at the store to play with, or even just sitting on the couch and doing deep breathing exercises if that's where you're at. It doesn't have to be earth-shattering, you know, huge movements. We're talking about truly teeny tiny things that are hopefully enjoyable and delightful, that are meaningful to you and move you towards where you want to be, and that they're really, really easy as far as time and effort goes. Of course, it also helps to have support, you know, folks to kind of cheer you on and keep you accountable, keep you company, and to just hear you and be with you. And that's kind of what we're about here in this group in Nourish, is trying to create some of that space for folks. So again, if you're not in the group yet, or if you haven't spent much time there, I'd really encourage you to come on in and check it out, and dip your toe in the water and share a little bit, because there's some really deep wisdom happening in this space. I'm so just blown away by the wise, beautiful things that people are saying. And also the vulnerability, the open honestness that is being shared has really been heartening too. Things aren't always rosy and great, and it doesn't do us any good to pretend like they are. So if you need some, support, or even if you just need someone to just hear you, then come on in and let us know. We're here for you. Hi, Barb. Nice to have you here. And Rachel's here. Hello. Anne says, a few months ago, my husband and I decided to start having salads for lunch instead of sandwiches. We discovered that we really like them. It's fun to experiment with things to add to our salad, and we feel better. The positive results make it easy to stick with this. Yep, exactly. Exhibit A. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, so small steps and support, and encouraging you to come to the group. Our activity for today is pretty simple. It's pretty much just to think about what would one teeny tiny way to add something nourishing and enjoyable into your life be today that might help you start feeling better, be healthier, kind of start moving you towards how you want to feel. And then come to the group, and you can share that in the comments here, and you can come to the group and share it there. There's a post every day that's pinned to the top of the page in the Nourish group, and you can share in those comments as well. That would be great. So I know that I talk about small steps a lot, and I know that a lot of people feel skeptical at first. It can feel kind of hard to believe that these teeny tiny steps can really, make much of a difference. And I want to just touch on that, because I understand that makes sense to our minds, and especially when we're steeped in this culture of, powering through and be your best self and take massive action and, all this stuff. So I think it's really, really important to be gentle with ourselves and come from a place from a mindset or a perspective of experimenting and tweaking as we try this, versus how, we kind of often come at it, we phrase it trial and error. And trial and error really kind of sets us up for, we try something, and if it doesn't work, it's an error, which kind of means we've failed, right? Which kind of sets up that negative spiral. So what I'm suggesting is a spirit of play that's experimenting and tweaking. So try something, try one tiny little thing, and then assess, did that work? How did you feel? Did it move you forward in a direction you want to go? If not, that's totally okay. That's information, right? Now we know either A, that did work for us and we'll keep doing more of that kind of thing, or B, that didn't work for us. So either we need to do something totally different, or maybe we just need to tweak whatever it was we tried a little bit so that it does work better for us. So just, that's one example of a way to just kind of try to be gentle with ourselves, because, we're way too good at beating up on ourselves and making things about success and failure, really clear-cut black and white success and failure. And it's just not like that, and it's unnecessary. As far as, wondering if this really works, it's a little bit of kind of a faith, trust me situation. I've seen this over the last 10 years. I've worked as a visiting nurse and as a health coach, working with folks with this kind of perspective and this method. And this stuff works. I've seen it work over and over again. And I want you all to be able to experience this. So take a tiny leap of faith today and try out one little thing and see how it goes. And if that thing doesn't go so great, then, have that mindset of experiment and tweak and try another little thing. And as always, if you want support, come to the group, but also feel free to reach out to me as well. I'm happy to chat with you about your specific situation always. Hey, Jen, nice to see you here. Okay, cool. We've got lots of people on board today. That's awesome. Okay, Janet, you say, once you start with one small step and it becomes integrated, the second one is easier and the third one is easier yet. Yes, exactly. Janet is the queen of small steps. She knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's a great point. Each one becomes easier and easier for sure. It kind of starts to flow really nicely. Let's see, Jen says, I love the idea of walking for a set amount of time. I think my Fitbit has gotten me too focused on number of steps and then feeling bad when I don't hit my goal. Walking for 15 minutes a day is something I can totally do. Wow, somebody's laughing a lot. Is that you, Janet? Are you laughing at being the queen of small steps? Okay. Yeah, walking for 15 minutes a day is totally doable, right? For most of us. And you know what? If it's not for you, that's okay. Go outside and walk for 3 minutes. If walking isn't something your body is able to do right now, which for a lot of us it's not, that's okay too. Sit in your chair and flex your muscles, or do deep breathing exercises, or, you know, I don't want to tell you what to do, because for each of us it's different, like we've talked about, and what's delightful and useful for each of us is different. So, you know, thinking about those criteria we talked about, something that's, let me go back to my notes so I don't forget what I said. Something that's interesting and delightful, that sounds fun to you, something that moves you towards something that's meaningful to you, and that it's really, really easy in terms of time and effort. So yeah, Jen, I agree. Having kind of a set small thing to start with is really helpful, just to kind of get us going a little bit and get that momentum going. Hey, Marietta and Jessica, so nice to have you all here. And Janet, yes, you are laughing at being the queen of small steps. Okay, well, you are, so I'm glad that makes you laugh. Okay, I think that I've mostly covered what I wanted to say to you today. Once again, if you're not signed up for Nourish yet, go ahead and sign up. It's free. Come join us in the group and share your experience, get a little support, give a little support. If anybody has questions, I will stick around for just a minute. I know there's a lag on Facebook when you're typing, and between the time you type and I see it. So I'll wait just a minute if anyone wants to type in any questions or comments, and then we'll call it a day. Oh, Jen, you love the dragonflies behind me. Yeah, me too. Isn't that pretty? I had to go elsewhere today. We had wireless internet issues at our house today, so. Yeah, those are beautiful. There's some delight, right? Art can be delight. Oh, actually, while I wait for you to type questions, if anyone's typing questions, I'm going to really quick see if I can find this beautiful comment that was made in the group today, kind of about that. One second here. Okay. Whoops. If it'll load. Yep, and while we're waiting for that, go ahead and let me know if you've got any questions. Okay, well, maybe it's not going to cooperate with me. And there's a puppy in the background too. Talk about delight. There it is. Okay, here's the note I wanted to find. Roz came in the group this morning and made this comment. She says, note from a creative, choose something you love and move closer to it, or take a photo of it over a period of time, i.e. just pay attention and honor it. It will then honor you, magic, which I think is a beautiful kind of tagging onto what we were talking about yesterday about delight, and what we're talking about today about adding in. So I think I'll leave you with that. Ooh, actually I had one more quote to leave you with, a Mary Oliver quote. If you know Mary Oliver, if you don't know Mary Oliver, you need to go look up her poetry and read as much of it as you can, because it's gorgeous and amazing. But she has I don't know if it's an entire little poem or this is a piece of a poem, so I'll have to look that up. But she says, it's titled Instructions for Living a Life. Pay attention, be astonished, tell about it. So that's what I'd like to encourage you today to think about, kind of move closer, like Roz said, to something that kind of lights you up, that you love, and find a little tiny way today to add that into your life a little bit. And then come tell us about it in the group. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions, so I think we're probably good to go. If you do have questions, feel free to add them in the comments here, and I'll circle back around later. And thank you so much, everybody, for being here. It's lovely to be in this cyber circle with you. Okay, everybody, have a lovely day, and I will see you tomorrow for day 4. Take care.